Welcome back. Yes, indeed, we're continuing our conversation about the tax bills, which is before the National Assembly. But there appears to be some questions about what will happen today. Yes, there's going to be a meeting, but as you've seen there anyway, so we're joined by Professor Emmanuel Osodeke, who is the president of the Academic Staff Union of Universities. Good morning, Prof. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, these bills are generating a lot of concerns, and perhaps rightly or wrongly, but at the moment, yesterday the presidency did say, okay, Attorney General, work with the National Assembly and let's see if we could find, resolve some of the thorny areas before they move forward. Whatever that step is, I guess time will tell. But out of all of those bills, what is your impression about all of what's going on?
Well, thank you very much. I will just speak to two issues there that affect the ordinary Nigerian. Okay. You see, I hear people from various regions, we support this, we disagree, and what have you. Meanwhile, you have nobody to look at the bill. I just mentioned one, VAT. VAT is a tax on consumers, which is Nigerians. So that if you increase the VAT today, it's not affecting producers. It's going to affect those who are going to consume. Because what the producer will do is to just build that into his cost of sale. And they have said that by 2025, it will increase to 10%. 2026, 27, 2029, 12.5%. 2030, 15%. When we have just been passing through that of fuel subsidy removal, the regulation of the dollar and the impact on Nigeria, you want to do this again with the people. Because those buying things in the market, and all of us buy today, we are going to now pay for this.
So it's not for luxury goods? It's
not for luxury goods only. If you make phone call, and what have you? You want to buy cement, maybe you want to do your anything, so you pay. Nigerian people will pay. That is one. Two, the one that really concerns me most, the development levy. You see, in 1993, the military then, because when we reached an agreement with the state could not fund it, they now challenge ASUU, provide a way we can solve and provide some material university that we can be moving all over the world. That is done in TETFUND. We said it was ETF, Education Trust Fund. But in 2011, after a lot of struggle, it became Tertiary Education Trust Fund. And we met, look at it, and said, why not allow companies and industries to contribute 2% to funding education? We didn't call it tax. Contribute 2% to fund education. And those 2% you are contributing then, we should not even call it tax, call it investment. Because you are investing in education, because the product of those tertiary education are just going to work for you. Just 2% of the profit of company, which the military accepted open-heartedly. Somewhere in 2021, it was increased to 2.5, and 2023 to 3%. And when you go around all Nigerian universities, polytechnic education today, 90% of the structure, fiscal structure you have for them are product of this particular struggle, of the TETFUND. 99% of people who are now trained in the university, the maximum degree, a PhD. And one of the criteria for assessing a university is the ratio of PhD to non-PhD. I've got the TETFUND training. More than 90% of the training are done by TETFUND. Go to laboratories, all the new equipment, laboratories are TETFUND. ICT TETFUND. But this bill is saying that by year 2030 it should be scrapped.
So
it should be scrapped, and that by 2023 they should merge them together with NASENI and NIDA, and then 4%, then reduce to 2% in 2020.
Okay, but there's been several explanations about that part.
Yes.
And what they said was, first, NASENI, TETFUND, NIDA are funded through budgetary provisions.
They are not.
And company income tax and other taxes paid by the same businesses that are overburdened. Okay. So he says, what they are asking is, for instance, you say companies and everybody pays all of those, but we also do know that several of these companies keep complaining about multiple taxation. So the point that he was making is that what they are trying to do is to consolidate the taxes. so that they won't keep complaining about multiple taxation. Because ever since that happened, there's been several other taxes that these companies have got to pay. So provisions, funding that will come from government, he says, will not stop. But they will consolidate those taxes and it will still be there. Not that they will scrap or stop them outright.
People are playing with words.
Oh, really?
TETFUND is not funded from budget. TETFUND, the money is consolidated in an account that is assessed by CBN from companies, money coming from companies. The investment by company in education. When you go outside the country, we keep talking about outside the country. Companies fund university, they donate money, they give funds, they give grants. Which companies are not doing in Nigeria? The only way they are doing is 2%. So they should not look at this as tax. You are investing in industry that will produce to the graduate coming to work for you. And two, you see, if you already have a tax that was formed in 1993, for me, is the only government institution that have been established that is functioning accurately. All others are broken down. Let's take the NELFUND they're talking about. This is the third one. Since 1993, when we started and today, they have started two that collapsed. The only one that have remained and is doing extremely well is TETFUND. Why do you want to now destroy it?
I want to be able to quote him directly.
Yeah, whatever it is.
So you can point out where you say he's not being straightforward.
Let me put it.
We are not scrapping Naseni. This is from Mr. Yedili.
Yes.
We are not scrapping Naseni and TETFUND. We agree that Nigerian businesses have to bear too many taxes, over 60, which is stunting their growth. So one of the objectives of this reform is to harmonize this with single-digit few number taxes. And we identified TETFUND, Naseni, and a few others and consolidated them into one, right? So he now says that by 2030, they will no longer share a special tax because the government cannot collect company income tax, VAT, stamp duty, and then introduce new taxes for areas they want to develop. That's his explanation. It's not being scrapped. You've been saying this.
Listen, you see, like I said, he's playing with words. Look at the sharing. By 2015, 2025, 2026, TETFUND will assess 50% of this consolidated fund. First, it will be 4%.
Yes.
2026, 27, it will reduce to 3%. TETFUND will have 66.57%. 2030, TETFUND will have 0. So if you are consolidating and you are now allocating, different, but say by 2030 it will be 0. Look, and to me, other countries in Africa are emulating this TETFUND. I will give you an example. Ghana now, because of this, in 2021, Ghana passed their own GET fund, Ghana Education Trust Fund. And well, you see, you know where they get it from? From VAT. 2.5% of their VAT. What are we saying? If you are starting NELFUND, which is a program, there's no problem. Challenge the academia. We will tell you how to fund it. We will give you a way to fund it without going to temper with the one that are already on ground.
So you say that even though they say, look, that clause in section 59.3 is that we are not going to the word they use, consolidating, you say is playing with words.
Yes, in fact, he says integrate collection system.
Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
They will tell you and the lady, by the way, we will consolidate your salary. Are you following? And then, but by 2010, you will get 60%, you get 30. But by 2030, you will get 100, you will get 0. Is that a consolidation?
No, it's not. Is it 0 entirely or 0 of what was coming from those multiple ones?
No.
Not 0 of the now consolidated one, which will kick off afterwards.
No, 0 of what? Look, no one was. I have taken time to read that about more than 200 pages. 0 of all the consolidated amount. They will reduce it to 2% and give all of them. And they use the word 0. Naseni 0, NIDA 0, and these are people funding our technology. Then loan, which has nothing to do with us. Let me tell you about loan. If you convert it to a loan, which means you are no more having that intervention in university. You are not collecting money and giving it. Parents are not going to pay for it.
What is your main issue with the NELFUND? Because I know it's at the back of a lot of these issues.
Our issue with NELFUND, I will give it 2 ways. One is that in a country like Nigeria, it should be grant.
It shouldn't be a loan.
It shouldn't be a loan. That's our own. Because when you see a country like America, that the unemployment rate is just about 3-4%. The president now is paying back those loans on behalf of the students, or those who took the loan, paying back, burden. But
no, for a period.
They are paying back the back loan, paying back, whether it's for a period or not. But for Nigeria, where unemployment is about 30-40%, and somebody graduates 20 years, doesn't get a job, and you say you should give it, that's no. We got bursary. They call it bursary down our time. That is one. Two.
But there's still bursary.
It's gone. Two, it's for the children of the rich. Two, I'm not telling you guys check. That's in the poor man too. No one had done a representative. All the universities are increasing their fee now. Hijacking their fee. So that today we borrow more loan, you get more loan from this NELFUND. And we co-brand the children of the poor, and many in my university, in my department, we now have less than 10 students in the department. Many have dropped out. And you can check nationwide. Apart from some of these big courses, medicine, law, and what have you, students are dropping out, the children of the poor are dropping out. Why co-brand them? That's what we are saying. So what we are saying, allow TETFUND as approved by the military, based on the effort of Nigerian lecturers, for whom many died. Mahmoud Tuko, a person here died for that struggle. Don't destroy it, because once you destroy it, you have destroyed Nigeria. Go and check. 90% of the infrastructure you have there are TETFUND.
So what is your response to those companies who say, look, ever since that time, there's been several other taxes imposed on companies.
Good.
And so something has to be done about that.
What we are saying, as at 1993, when it was formulated, company didn't complain. Until recently, company didn't complain. If what tax, Nigeria is the country with the least allocation of budget to education. This is the only source of funding. The least. I mean, we have multiple students in this so-called this country who cannot go to school. Why not go and touch the one that was made in 1993? Why not remove the tax you introduced between 2020 and today? Why go and tamper with it in 1993? When it was there, nobody was complaining. And two, the companies are not complaining.
Okay, so there's a step. There's consultations going on right now. Are you going to be part of the consultation? Because the president said we understand that there are grievances here, and you have noted.
We have never been consulted.
Are you going to? Would you want to be a part of these negotiations now?
If they invite us, we are available.
Have you asked to be a part of the process, though? You know, you can say, look, you can write to the Senate. We want to be part of the process because we have grievances, we have issues.
We follow that, but also know that what we are talking about is not about ASUU. It's about the future of Nigeria. Nigerian government gives less than 10% to education. In West Africa, the minimum allocation to budget education is 15%. We are 10. So the only sources of funding is from here, of training of staff. So when you destroy it, you have destroyed the public universities. And they have gone to public primary and secondary school, which is exactly what these people want. Because many of them who are doing this, they have private universities. This is what they want, to destroy the public universities, to ensure the children of the poor completely becoming slaves to the children of the rich. So there is a need for all of us, parents, students, even governors. Because if you are going to do that, you should consult the governors. The governor for us said, no, it should be stepped down. Remember? And the federal government said, no, this money goes to the universities. Federal, state. Let me give you, because we are involved, because we monitor it, it's working well. The similar one formed for primary and secondary, is it working? Is UPEC working? Universal Basic, is it working? But because of this, it's there. Why did you not go to touch that?
No, but some states are accessing the funds.
I say it's still working.
It's still working.
Every university, for that, they are accessing TETFUND.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that, why TETFUND?
So, why did you say companies are not complaining about multiple taxation?
They are not complaining about education tax. I'm not talking about multiple taxation. If you want to stop the recent taxes. Leave the one that have been there for a long time that is working.
All right, let Ayo ask some questions for you. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chamberlain. You know, Prof, the first question I want to ask is do you have anything, or does ASUU have anything really against the student loan initiative of the federal government?
What we are saying, you see, we are the academia. We do our research. We have searched all over the world. We have done research. Like in most countries where you're having student loan, when they graduate, they become problem in the society. Some are demoralized, And what have you? Just imagine in this country, a student is graduating from a university has only 5 million naira. Even me as a professor at the bar, in 20 years, I cannot pay back loan of 5 million. Then a student who is graduating have a loan of 5 million. And he's not sure of getting a job in 10, 20 years. And we are saying that if we look at what happened in the 60s, 70s, we can go to that level. The children of the poor, assist them. Increase your budgetary allocation to education, and this issue of loan will not come up. And that it should be a grant. And two, that's our problem with the student loan. Because we also found out this is the third time they are introducing it. In the last two, they collapsed. Nobody benefited. Those who benefited didn't pay back. It collapsed. So how are we sure this one will survive? If we look at the history.
Okay, well, still on that, student loan initiatives survive in other climes, don't they? And we hear it from time to time. So do you think it is an initiative that can work, or is something that the federal government should forget about altogether?
You see, when we are talking about all over the world, specified it, make it specific. In United States, one of the areas you have the highest student loan. The students are unable to pay. Some are committing suicide. And the president, Joe Biden, is paying back the loan for some of these people. Paying back the loan they took because of the effect on their citizens. So if it doesn't work in US, they keep on saying with an unemployment rate of less than 4%, how is it going to work in Nigeria with an unemployment rate up to 40%? So let's look at the initiative, look at what others are doing. Is there a way we can afford education appropriately? And the answer is yes. Let me give you a typical example. There was a CBN governor who, during his period as a CBN governor, put a project in every federal university in Nigeria through their social responsibility. That was the Emir Sanusi. There is no university in Nigeria, federal university didn't put a project. But all the other governors that have they put a project in anywhere, which means that such fund is there, and we found out it's there. If we look at those areas, we have a way of funding this thing rather than coming to encumbrance our young men and women, using the word, what do you call it, a return on investment. In education, there should not be anything on return. In education, we should look at investing for future, which is missing in our own. That's why you are seeing Nigerians, because of this thing, they are ready to remember country to go and get a degree within 3, 4, 5, 6 months or 1 year. Is that what we want? If our system is working properly, well-funded, students have access to good education, would they be right to go and look for 2 years or 1 year degrees from other countries?
Well, you know, Prof, one of the things that we've also heard is that the TETFUND has also come under quite some significant concerns. I mean, a number of people have expressed significant concerns about the operations of TETFUNDs, talking about mismanagement and diversion of funds, lack of transparency, collusion with contractors, and weak oversight, accountability, and a number of other things. Now, how do you respond to that?
Our response is this. As an academics, we have now discussed the new TETFUND, and we now join a monitoring project. Any project when there are defects, any project that is not well done, we insist that it must be done properly, or they should be reported to the appropriate security agencies. That's what we are doing. You see, when we keep on talking about this one is not doing, this one is not doing, what has all the security agencies done to ensure that this is corrected? We have ICPC, we have the Nigerian police, we have all of them. If any of them is not working, what have they done? That's their responsibility. Not talking, not we just talking. So if any on every 5 years, the president set a visual panel to every university to look at defects. How many have you seen that confirm? Which of the reports have you seen that confirm this thing we hear in the public? So there's a need to have data. So we also challenge the government. I believe that when it happened, they should do what Goodluck Ebele Jonathan did in 2013 by setting up the need assessment committee to go around to the Nigerian university to see whether there are problems with people coming from the ministries, from the universities, from all over, to go and assess if there are issues. And that report is well known all over the country. I will challenge this president to also do the same thing for TETFUND. if they believe something is wrong, but not going to scrap it.
Okay. Well, still, now back to the tax reform bills. Now, in your opinion, what needs to be done? Because, as you are aware, more than half of the people who have spoken about these tax reform bills are in favor, and those who are iffy about one thing or the other are asking for some adjustments, some further collaborations, further consultations and all. And of course, a significant number of people as well do not opt to have, are saying that the whole thing should be watered down the drain. If you could make a recommendation, particularly in the area of your concern, what would be your recommendation concerning the tax reforms?
Thank you very much. For me, most of those you are hearing speaking in the public, they have not read the bill. They have not taken time to read that bill. If they are read it, they will not be hearing some of this thing you are hearing. Two, for us, you can't be now, TETFUND is a product of ASUU. But now you can't now be, amending that TET law without inviting ASUU or meeting with ASUU or calling ASUU, so what are your input before you now propose to the National Assembly? If we are really working as a team in the country, the vice chancellor were not consulted. The pro-chancellor were not consulted. The people sat down somewhere and said, let's just, over the next 5 years, let's scrap it. Without consulting those who initiated this bill that have today transformed Nigerian public universities. You just went, if this bill didn't come to the public later on through third party, nobody would have known that this bill had been passed and TETFUND had been scrapped. That is not how to work in the system. If you are going to amend a bill, to propose a bill to amend a law, you should consult the stakeholders. We were never consulted. Nobody in the university system, polytechnic or education was consulted. That is not how to run in a country that is democratic.
So your concern is about consultation, and that is understood. But if you were indeed consulted, what are the concerns you would be raising, and what are the recommendations you'd be making?
Let me talk about these two things that I said I'm going to talk about. On the issue of VAT, that you want to increase from 7.5% to 15% in 2030. That will create more problems for Nigerian people. All we need to do today is to ensure that the 7.5% remain, but Nigerians to ensure that our money are well used. We are aware, recently there is a forfeiture of 740 properties by an individual in Abuja. They are not named the person. 750 properties by one person. And I show in government, one person in government having 732 properties in Abuja. And you say there's no money. So what are we saying? Let the poor breathe. And they can only breathe if you don't allow this hijack, creating an environment where the ordinary person is suffering and cannot eat and become beggars. That is one. Therefore, education tax, let that act that was initiated in 1992, 1993, that have transformed all Nigerian universities, allow it to stay. Go and look for ways. If you want to start NELFUND, I would go and look for a way to fund it. Don't go and take from the one that already be there to go and fund it. And like I said, in Ghana, when Ghana came to Nigeria and look at what we are doing, they went back and said, we'll not take it from tax. Let's take it from VAT. Nigerian government can say, VAT is for all Nigerians, state, federal, and local government. Let federal government say, we want to fund NELFUND, which is this, from VAT. Let them take 1 or 2% of VAT and use to fund NELFUND. That way everybody would have contributed, state, federal. If you use 1 or 2% of VAT that you see today to form the NELFUND, you have solved that problem. Don't come and take the one from Peter to pay Peter.
Well, there is also one or two issues. One or two issues. I don't know about Peter. Maybe they are twins or something. But one other issue that's been talked about concerning TETFUND in particular is political interference. It's one of the key criticisms about how the TETFUND is being administered. So it's what would you say about that? Because perhaps you may also want to make recommendations as to what aspects of that law, the TETFUND law, should be needs some adjustment so that it is insulated from political interference, if you agree that that is indeed is true.
Like I said, when this law, the act was passed in the year 1993, ASUU was a member of the board of TETFUND to serve as a check. And we were doing that perfectly until 2011, 2009 or 2010, without even inviting us for any public hearing, National Assembly, they changed it and removed ASUU. So what I'm saying, they change us and remove ASUU as a member of the board of TETFUND, and now make it political. And now you are hearing these issues. So let's go back to the original draft of the board of TETFUND, where some stakeholders that you believe can challenge these politicians become members of the board. Unlike what you have now. You must get one position for each of the political zone.
I mean, you alluded to something that I'm just even reading the Colleges of Education Academic Staff Union also saying the same thing. And it's a very interesting idea, the idea that there is some clandestine plan by the ruling class to destroy public universities, and you know, it does seem a little conspiracy theory-ish, you know, like they want to pave way for their privately owned schools. But, you know, I want to be able to bring up the conversation about our public tertiary institutions. For many people, these are institutions that are not exactly churning out people that can really do the work we need in public universities.
They cannot.
You know, people have been complaining about the quality of graduates
which is not correct.
Schools.
Wouldn't
private... For the people who believe that the graduates are not up to par with their mates around the world, wouldn't privatization make it even better?
Correct. You see, all you're trying to speak to run down the public, maybe for whatever interest. All Nigerian medical doctors are being sought of for all over the world. Is it not true? Nigerian nurses are being sought for all over the world. Nigerian lecturers are being sought for all over the world. So, Nigerian ICT and this are being sought for. Why you say no? They're not. Why they are Nigerian? Saudi came and plus so many of our graduates. Yeah, they came nurses. So why you say they are not employable? What you are seeing is a collusion fight, collusion by the private and some of the political and people who have interest to kill the public universities. Our graduates are as good anywhere in the world. When I go around this country and I see my students, I go around the world, I see my students. I am so proud I'm a lecturer in Nigerian universities. The only problem we have is that there is a fight by the elite to kill the public universities. And they come with sort of story. Subject any Nigerian graduate to any test all over. There's a program, they call it WASCA. I'm one of those who lecture there once in a while. I have been there. We pick one PhD candidate from all over the West African country for training. And for the 4 times I have gone, 3 times the Nigerian graduate will be top. I was scared that maybe I was biased. I had to call my colleagues from Poland and so I asked, let me see, how is your grade? And they gave me exactly the same thing. So anybody see Nigerian graduate, the only thing we need now, especially for the science-based teaching, is for the government to allow TETFUND to completely build up our laboratories. Simple. There's no university in the world, you will not see a Nigerian lecturer.
So as we wind down on this one, the drafters have said we don't plan to scrap it. But you say it's playing with words. So that means it's pretty simple. So what we will need to do then is, ASUU, you just need to come up with your recommendations and submit to them. It hasn't even gone to public hearing, especially today that they now say, okay, AGF, work with National Assembly, let's resolve some of this gray area. So we'll expect that some of these concerns you have
while we are raising this now, we are going to be sure that this thing does not go. We are going to work together. We, ASUU, COASU, and all the unions, we are going to work together to ensure this does not go. You know why? When you go for public hearing, there are higher crowds. Yes. No, come on. They are there. I'm telling you, they're welcome. And yeah. And that's all. So whatever we say, make no meaning.
I really want to see you as a part of the negotiations going on right now. And you said you were going to follow up.
You have big crowd will come. Wearing uniform.
You said you were going to
yeah, you have to sit there. Wearing uniform. They were not shouting.
You said you were going to follow up since there are negotiations going on right now. Maybe, you know, so you can actually be part of those negotiations.
We are appealing to the government. Please, in the interest of Nigerian students, in the interest of Nigeria, allow TETFUND to stay on its own. Look for other funding, which they want us to tell them. We have done that. The committee set up, head by Musa Jibril, and I was there. And we went around, and we know Nigeria has so much money. One of the things that came from that is this stamp duty that nobody's talking about today. If you know how much money has been generated for stamp duty, if you put 5% of it to fund that, it will fund it fully. Okay. But that has gone down, but they are collecting it.
All right, so...
Have you heard anything about stamp duty? So money is still being collected.
So what they're saying is you want TETFUND to still be funded. So, but they are saying, yes, it will be funded, but maybe the how appears to be the bone of contention.
We are saying TETFUND should remain the way it is. Companies should invest. I didn't say pay tax.
But they fund it with taxes.
I said companies should, they should not call it tax, call it investment in education. 2% of your, 3% of your investment in education. So trace to graduates who come and work in your company. Is that a big thing to do?
But did you invite these companies when you came up with this? Look, you said they did it without calling you. Did you in turn let companies do?
The president then, I will still mention him, President Babangida. Before we put that, we would have consulted. Babangida in those days, before we would have done this to approve that this thing should go, as in 1993, we would have consulted. Not we.
All right.
And not every country. You have to make sacrifice for education.
All right, Prof. Well, thank you for coming on. We'll expect that some of those recommendations will be forwarded to the appropriate quarters, and as I say, they'll look into all of this. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
Professor Osodike is the president of ASUU. Business Morning comes up now.